Inspired by our recent events out on the coast and our newly released Chardonnay Pet Nat, today we're gonna make spaghetti with clams. This is one of my favorite dishes. This is a spring version of that. We will steam some clams open with white wine and make a little sofrito with green garlic and fennel and Calabrian chili. We'll bring it all together and top it with some toasted breadcrumbs. So the first thing we're going to do is steam open our clams. I have about 3 pounds of little neck clams here that I've rinsed in water. They've soaked in water for a few minutes, rinse, soak, rinse. Just kind of do that until you feel like they're pretty clean. And then I'm going to saute some green garlic. So I'm gonna use about 3 stalks of green garlic, I think, for this whole dish. So we'll start by splitting them in half lengthwise. Set this aside. So now we can steam open our clams. I'm gonna bring our clams to the stove along with our green garlic and a little bit of thyme. So I'm gonna get this pan nice and hot and get some olive oil in there and then saute a little green garlic. It already smells so good. Throw a few thyme branches in there and then I'm gonna add a cup of white wine along with the clams. Now I'm gonna just put the lid on here so these can steam. Okay, we'll let those clams steam for a few minutes. And now to start our sofrito, we have our green garlic, 1 head of fennel, which I'm going to dice up. So it sounds like some of these clams are done. We'll pull out the ones that have opened and then let the rest of them continue steaming. Okay, they all opened. If any don't open, if any of the clams stay closed, you can just get rid of those. But we'll get these all out of the liquid so they stop cooking. So we'll let the clams cool. And now we can just pour out this clam liquid that we want to save. This will be the base of our sauce. So I like to pour the clam juice into a clear glass in case there is sand left in the clams. You'll be able to see it and the sand will settle to the bottom and we'll hold that back. So now that these have cooled slightly, I'm going to go through and remove all the clam meat from the shells. I don't like keeping the shells in the pasta. It's my personal preference. I just think that pre-shelling the clams for your guests is just so loving and generous. It's like a real treat. I like when you have some whole clams and then some smaller bits so it becomes more a part of the sauce. So I saved the top of our fennel so we can chop some of those fronds as well as pick some parsley. Probably need about 1/2 of a bunch. So adding fennel and fresh fennel fronds to this makes it a little bit more springy. Same with the green garlic, using green garlic rather than full garlic heads. So our herbs are fully chopped, and then I also have a few teaspoons of Calabrian chili in their oil, and then some butter. And that's it. Now we can start building our sauce. So to start building our sauce, we're gonna get a big saute pan hot and add a few tablespoons of olive oil. Then we're going to add maybe like 2 tablespoons of green garlic and then the diced fennel. So we're just sauteing the fennel and garlic, and I'm gonna add a little black pepper. And we're gonna add a few teaspoons of Calabrian chili. Now that our fennel's tender, our garlic's sauteed, Calabrian chili's in there, we're going to add some herbs and sizzle those for just a second. The parsley and fennel. So you want to be pretty delicate with salt at this point. The clams and their juice are pretty salty already. Plus we're going to be cooking the pasta in salted water. So you don't want to over season. We can season more later if we need to. And now we'll add our clam juice. So now we can just set the base of the sauce aside and get our pasta cooked. Get a good amount of salt in there. I I'm using spaghetti for this because that's just what I prefer. I think it's the best noodle for vongole. I'm gonna bring our sauce up to a simmer, add this butter so it kind of emulsifies. That's about 2 tablespoons of butter. So I've added all the noodles to the sauce so they can finish cooking in here and really take on the clam flavor. Okay, we'll give these noodles a taste. They're looking really nice and glossy. Grab one. It's delicious. I'm gonna add our clams. Now I'm gonna add just a little bit of pasta water to loosen it all up. I'm gonna add just a little bit of Meyer lemon zest to brighten it all up. Just adding a little bit more black pepper. Oh, it looks so good. Try a bite. Oh yeah, we're there. Okay, I'm gonna plate up a bowl. Spoon some of the sauce on top. I really like to add toasted breadcrumbs because it gives it a nice texture. And then some fresh fennel, chopped fennel, and parsley. It smells so amazing. Super springy. Let's see. So good. I just love spaghetti with vongole. It's briny and salty, but lemony and fresh and bright. The little bit of heat from the Calabrian chili is really nice. And then a little crunchy breadcrumb. So good. One of my favorites. Yum.